Good evening. Live at Pompeii at Tuesday, the 4th of November 2020. Hello, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are
Well,
you?
doing well so
Nice.
far.
So, just well? Why just well?
Well, we were waiting what the outcome is for the election.
Sure. And what do you think? What do you expect will happen?
I'm still optimistic.
Okay.
I
I
want to
mean,
be optimistic.
I'm too optimistic. I'm optimistic as well. However, um, the things will be different as we think. Yeah. So the
Das ist einer von denen. Die haben irgendwie die Boxen zu und dann geht es in das Mikrofon rein.
okay. So we have a
Halt mal die.
feedback. Okay. Um, do you know why I'm playing with this Pink Floyd guys? Do you understand that? Why I give you a Pink Floyd introduction? Jetzt mach mal halt mal an.
Dana doesn't know. I know a little bit now by now.
Okay. So I'm telling you a very peculiar story. Mach die mal bitte weg. Okay. Um, yeah, it sounds a little bit weird what I'm telling you. Um, so we live in a four-dimensional reality. Yes, we have the three direction here, and the fourth dimension is time. But from a highest perspective, time is not what we think what it is. From a higher perspective, you can have a look on the future and the past. And it seems that some human beings escaped this prison in which we are living, and they worked out a master plan how we break free from this prison. Yes? And they transmitted information to us about a master plan to break free. And in music pieces from Pink Floyd, for example, we get information how to break free, what we have to do. So some people think that the politician, the president, the government is ruling the things. They are really governed. But if you look behind the scenes, there must be something else. Yeah? It might be the big families on the world. But above these big families, might be something else. So this is a pyramid of power. Yeah? We are here the human beings. And some people think here we have politicians, president, and some people think about that you call it deep state. But this is not very precise. So the important thing is that you really know who is on the tip of the iceberg or tip of the pyramid, and who. So only if you know who is on the tip of the pyramid, on the top of the pyramid, you may identify what is the plan. What is the master plan? What will happen? What is designed to happen to us? So you have to identify who is on the top of the pyramid, and then you can deduce what's the plan, what his or their plan. And does anybody of you think the politician is on the top? Are on the top? No. So many think they're the families. Do you think on the families are on the top, like the Rothschilds or something like that? Or the Rockefellers? Do you think that? So you may think there are aliens on the top? Aliens? Who think aliens? Who think it's an artificial intelligence? This guy, how he's called, this Tusk, wie heißt er nochmal? Der Tesla-Typ. This Tesla guy, how he's called? This Musk type guy.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, exactly. So Elon Musk thinks it might be an artificial intelligence. And this might be the case. However, there are hints that some human beings managed to go to the top. So some human beings escaped this prison. And we have here in Germany a guy who is called Alexander Laurent. And he tells, or he discloses the idea this is a seven-dimension reality, and some human beings manage to step to the top. And the challenge is now that here are some of our enemies, like aliens. And they had to transfer important information to us, and they have to transfer information to us which cannot be blocked by those enemies of humanity. And one way to transfer those information are via music, are via art, are via movies. And Have a Cigar is such important information. And here you get the information. You have to go to a special location in Europe. This is called St. John's Wood. And some of our people had been there. And the interesting thing is there's another No, one moment, please. Where is that? No. And there's another song by Pink Floyd, it's called Fearless, and they're showing this picture. And this picture exactly you see when you go to St. John's Wood in the mountain, and there you exactly see this picture. Is this coincidence or is it an information for us? And this song, Fearless, is about our Corona time. Okay, you're looking now a little bit questioning. Donna, is it? What about this German guy's talking? What is this German guy talking about? Can you... Okay, this story is now a little bit far-reaching. To make a long story short, they managed to tell us, to give us a hint about the location where the Europeans have to go to protect themselves. And this is a location in the mountain in Austria. And there's also another version of Fearless telling you guys in the United States where you have to go.
You say the hill's too steep to climb.
So there's a book I talked already about. It's Sun Tzu, The Art of War. We are in a kind of war. And so we have to apply the principles of war. And some principles of war are called territory. So there are different territories from a strategic point of view. And there are some territories you are safe, you can protect yourself, and there are some territories where you are not safe. And one territory where you are safe are the mountains. So the tanks cannot go up the hill in the mountains. So you have to climb up the hill.
You say you'd like to see me try. Climbing.
So those guys who are awake here in Europe will climb up the hills in this location in Austria.
You pick the place and I'll choose the time.
So you pick the time, and those guys who are on the top of the pyramid, they choose the place. And where this place is, they are informing us with such a kind of song.
I'll climb that hill in my own way. Just wait a while for the right day.
And the right day will happen soon.
And as I rise above the tree line and the cloud,
So you have to rise above the tree line. There you are safe.
I look down, hearing the sound of the things you said today.
So hearing the sound, the things he said today means they are shouting, they are screaming below in the valley, where the tanks are going, are driving. Man, 1 second. So now you have the sense, fearlessly the idiot faces the crowd. So the idiot follows the crowd. The idiot doesn't think himself. And he is fearless, stupidly fearless. Though merciless, they are those officials which will give you the injection, the vaccination. This is now very important, this sentence. So, who's the fool who wears the crown? Who gets the corona injection? So, the idiot gets the corona injection, the vaccination. So, they are singing it very politely, but the information they transport, yeah, is very harsh. So the idiot who wears the crown is the guy who gets the injection, and he will go down in his own way. We climb up in our own way, and the idiot goes down in his own way. So, and every day is the right day for the idiot to go down. If you really have attention on the words, it's very clear what they mean. So, this is the kind of information we get from the seventh dimension. So, Donna's now away. It's too hard for her.
No, Donna has a computer problem. She texted me.
Okay.
And as you rise above the fear lines in his brow.
So, and you have to rise above the fearless of his frown. So, the magistrate has no chance to get you. You are up and away. Here in Europe.
You're down, hear the sound of the faces.
So you look down and hear the sound of the faces in the crowd. They will go down. All the idiots will go down. Because they have no idea what they will get in this injection. So this piece of music was written and performed in 1971. Yes? And now a very strange thing happened at the end of the song. So you listen to the song of Liverpool, of the football club Liverpool. And this football club managed now the first time since 30 years to become champion. So isn't it very special that a Pink Floyd song ends with the Song of Liverpool? This might have a meaning. And the same thing happens now with another song, with the same song, but with another landscape. So you also have the feeling. And at the end, you see what it is. Ein bisschen leiser. Mach mal bitte sehr leise. Also ich mach mal leise. And interestingly, you might recognize the area, the location. Do you know that? What's the location of this? Do you have an idea? So it's the same song with other pictures. So the song is called Fearless, and it shows you the Keys of Florida. They're the Keys of Florida. And this is the area where you guys on the other side of the Atlantic should gather and build groups. Oh, this information is not easy to really get when you think in normal terms about the top of the pyramid. But I just tell you, this is what those guys from the seventh dimension are transferring to us. That we all have together at a special location where we are safe, where we get together and build groups, organize ourselves. Does that sound weird? Just a little bit weird. Okay, this was just an introduction. So we ended yesterday talking about nutrients and salt. You recall? Should we proceed? So Donna, did you take extra salt today?
Did I take what today?
Extra salt today. Did you start to take a little bit more salt than usual?
Well, I actually went out to lunch and
Yes.
I had Chinese food, so I'm sure there was more salt in it.
That's good. That's a start. So those guys who reduce the salt amount have a 300% higher probability to die in the scope of 6 years. So to use plenty of salt might be a very good idea. Okay, perhaps I shall say that. However, there are other studies there are also studies that people die because of salt. Yes? This is what many medical doctors know or think they know, that salt is very unhealthy. And 1.65 million people die at cardiovascular diseases because of salt. Yes? And so when you look on studies who say you will die when you do not take enough salt, and another study is there, you die when you take plenty of salt. So you might be a little bit irritated. So the question is, who is right? What is fake news? What is fake science? And then you have to look on those other kind of information. Like in the New England Journal of Medicine, global sodium consumption and death from cardiovascular causes. And then you see absolutely opposite of what I told you yesterday. So in these kind of studies, this is called a meta-study. So you do not really make a study, you just call it a little bit study. You look on literature. You go into the library and pick up numbers. Numbers where there's a number about salt and blood pressure. And you look on another numbers which represent blood pressure and cardiovascular diseases. Yes? So you go into the library, take out some data and make statistic. And here is such an example. They go into the library and collect data about salt intake and blood pressure. And then they get something like that. So here's a sodium amount, a salt amount, and here you have change in systolic blood pressure. But you know, this is a very cheap story, or a very cheap study. And you may pick out every data that's nice for you. That's according to your plan, that's according to the work you have to do, what's according to the outcome which is expected by the guy who gives the money. And if you make statistics out of literature, you can make any statistic. And this is what they are doing. So the study where you collect the whole urine for 24 hours for 365 days per year, over 6 years. This is a really study, yeah. And there you have really samples you can measure. And in this study, which I explained to you yesterday, those guys who made the study said there is no, how you call it, no dependency of salt and blood pressure. Yes? And you know, when you have such data, you can put this line in any kind, in any way that suits you. And this is now an assumption. It might have no influence at all, this blood pressure, by the sodium intake. But when you put in a special decline of this curve, of this line, yeah, we call it in the term of logical fallacies. so base data. And or we call it even a slippery slope. You have now a base assumption, and on this base assumption, which is wrong, you make all your mathematics, you make all your statistics, and then you turn up that salt is very unhealthy and just makes you dead. So it's easy, if you want to fake a study, a scientific study, to fake it. And normal people are not experienced to really look deeply in these studies. And normally you don't look at any study, you have only your favorite magazine who tells about some studies, but you don't go into this basic study. And because of that, they can sell you everything. They can sell you any lie to be serious. And this is a problem. This is a problem that many scientists are corrupt. They make science for money, or they make fake science for money. So then you have to look on some words, some sentences. On the basis of the correlation between sodium intake and blood pressure, and between blood pressure and cardiovascular mortality, you can deduce anything you want. But you just make correlations. And then you have some special sentences like, the potential limitation of our study should be considered. Or, our modeling cannot prove that sodium restriction reduces cardiovascular mortality. So, some years ago, this wasn't called a study. But our scientific literature is full of fake studies. Our scientific world is full of corrupt scientists or pseudoscientists. And people have to understand that there are two different ways of scientists. And the problem is that all the scientists in the world are dependent on big companies, on big, how you call it, on big industries. And if you come out with a study that doesn't suit them, you might be out of work very soon. So as a real scientist, you need some courage to publish information which doesn't suit the guy who gives you the money. But the scientists today are so dependent on big business, therefore they turn around the results of studies. And interestingly, this study where salt is so dangerous, yeah, get a support by a grant from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So this Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is corrupting science. And we have to know that. Okay, this is now an important thing. The toxin injection in the delivery room. How incompetent physical doctors get down our chances to have a happy life. In the 1990s, there was a story told, also in our mainstream media, that babies, newborns, got an injection immediately after birth. An injection of a vitamin, or I shall call it a pseudovitamin, it's called vitamin K or K1. Yes? So every newborn got this injection of pseudovitamin K1. And here in Germany, we got the information that this injection from newborns, for newborns, cause cancer. So there were many newborns with a significant elevated risk to get cancer. And then it was changed that they did not get just the injection, but also oral drops. You have to know, this is the same thing in Germany, in Great Britain, in the United States. 99% of all newborn babies get this pseudovitamin K1. 99%. And in a dosage which is 1,000 times the recommended daily allowance. And they get this 3 times. These are droplets of this pseudovitamin K1 which people in Germany get, or newborn in Germany get that. And they get, here it's called, the first dosage of vitamin K1, it's 2 milligram. 2 milligram, that's 31 times the recommended daily allowance for women. You get it? There's a recommendation. I have to drink something. Könnte ich einen Tee haben? So, babies get 33 times the amount of this pseudovitamin K1 which is recommended for normal women. Develop it for the amount of weight, for the weight, yes, because a baby is not so heavy than a normal woman. Then it's 1,000 times per weight the amount which is recommended for a woman, and they get this 3 times. What is vitamin K1? It's also called phylloquinone. And I showed you yesterday by the example of vitamin E, where important information are hidden. So this vitamin K1, this is the chemical structure, have 2 carbon atoms where a carbon has 4 different arms. So this is one arm, this is one arm, this methyl group is the 3rd arm, and the not denoted hydrogen atom is the 4th arm. And here's the same, this rest, the methyl group and the hydrogen atom. And when you have 4 different arms, you have this picture mirror topic. That means if a chemist is producing that, then the chemist makes 2 times 2 different 3D structures. So a chemist makes 4 different 3D structures. And he produces 1 time out of 4 the real vitamin, and 3 times out of 4 the wrong vitamin with the wrong 3D structure, which probably is very poisonous, very toxic. So newborn babies, if this is produced by a chemist, get huge amount of toxins injected at the moment of the birth. So I had to look, do they get the real vitamin or do they get something else? Thanks. And so I made my research and I was successful. So this is a paper from the US Department for Agriculture. It's about the vitamin K1, which is this phyloquinone thing. And phyloquinone has to be produced synthetically. Commercial vitamin K1 is synthesized from 2-methyl-1,4-naphthoquinone and phytyl derivates. i.e., this is synthetic. And what newborn babies get injected is a chemical cocktail at a huge doses where 3 parts of 4 are probably highly toxic. That means, so this welcome cocktail our babies receive in the delivery room is a cocktail of toxin directly injected into the blood. What do you think about that? Nice? So you all get those. It started at about 1965 here in Germany, where all the newborn get this cocktail of toxins. But the normal medical doctor doesn't know about, it's called stereochemistry. They don't know how important the 3D structure is. Because the most important atom here, the hydrogen atom, isn't denoted. And when a normal medical doctor looks on that, he doesn't have a clue that this represents 4 different structures, 4 different 3D structures. But the 3D structures are decisive according to the function in our body. What do you think about that? Did you know that?
No, and what is the reason? What should it be good for? What are they telling us? Why we need that?
Okay, say, also medical doctors say there are some babies who have a problem with they get blood in their brain, and this might stop that. However, this problem that babies develop blooding in their brain is 1 baby out of 10,000. Yeah, and in 1 cases out of 30,000, this really becomes a problem. They will be handicapped or they will die. 1 out of 30,000. But if you look deeper into the data, you find that only babies from mother who, how it's called, breastfeeding their babies, have this problem. So this bleeding problem in the brain is only associated with breastfeeding mothers. However, if you look 1 step deeper, the problem is associated only with breastfeeding mothers who are on pharmaceuticals, who are on anti-epileptics. Yes? So if you look on that, so normal breastfeeding mothers, the babies don't have any problem. But only those who take special pharmaceuticals. So this is a reason for that. And therefore everybody gets it. And what I understand, we have many cells in our body, and the cells in our body have a skin. And this skin is called the lipid double layer. And in this lipid double layer, I have to magnify that, you have an acidic group or head and a fatty acid tail. So this is a fat double layer. This is the interface to water, and this is the interface to the water in the cell. And this is a fatty area where no water is in. And this kind of fatty vitamins go into this double layer. And they determine the permeability of the cell. They determine what will go in and what will go out. And now you have molecules which are never ever designed to control the permeability in our cells. It's like you have guys who protect your frontiers. That not all guys come in or not all guys go out. And now you have such guys who protect your frontier, but they are the wrong guys. They manage that the wrong molecules go in and the wrong molecules go out. So this is not just a toxin, it's a very long-term toxin. It has a vast effect on the permeability of our cells. And I call it a Trojan horse. So this is something they do with our babies for over 50 years. And nobody knows about that. So they're poisoning for more than 50 years our babies. And here in Germany, if a young mother said, no, I don't want this to my baby, this young mother really gets a problem. So she will get really pressure from the medical doctors. And a normal lady, young mother, who just managed to give birth to a living being, accepts everything, what a medical doctor says to her. And this information really nobody knows. I was the first guy who started to get this information over here in Germany. And I'm not sure whether anybody in the United States is making this information official. So any chemist, chemist teacher of chemistry, know that when a chemist is producing this molecule artificially in a chemical reactor, he makes 4 different types of pseudovitamin K1. So 75% of this pseudovitamin K1, I call it, it's a chemical mutant. It's a mutant of the normal vitamin K1. And you have to know there is no study. There's no study for this vitamin K1, whether it's safe or not. Because they say it's so important that the babies get it, we cannot tolerate to make this test. We cannot tolerate that any baby can't have it or will not have it. So there is no study whether this is safe or not. They just define it is safe. This is an assumption, but this assumption had never been proven. Was never proven. So, however, there's another vitamin K. It's called vitamin K1, and this is really an important vitamin. Yes? And this vitamin K1 doesn't have carbon atoms with 4 different neighbors. So chemists can produce it. 100% pure. But this is a high quality vitamin K. But babies are not allowed to have it. And we know vitamin K1 is a deficiency vitamin. Vitamin K2 is in butter when the cow is fed with green grass, or it is an ingredient of eggs when the chicken is fed with grass, with greens. Without that, they don't develop vitamin K2, and therefore we have a deficiency in vitamin K2. So the high performance vitamin K is vitamin K2, but this is a legislation of the European Parliament. And this document documents which vitamins, nutrients are allowed for babies. And so this is menaquinone is vitamin K2, phylloquinone is the pseudo-vitamin K1. So for babies, only this pseudo-vitamin is allowed, but not the high-performance vitamin menaquinone. This is not allowed for babies. So for babies, only toxins are allowed. And this is the same thing in the United States as in Europe. And if you get this story, you question yourself, also CDCs, this CDCs called Center of Disease Control. Yes? So they really control the disease, but not the healthiness of the population. So if you understand the story, you're asking yourself, are they really interested in our health? Or what is driving them? Are they more interested in our sickness? Because if they were interested in our health, they wouldn't do something like that. Is it? So it's fairly obvious that most of us have a really lack of valid information about nutrients and health. And there's so much fake information out there about health and nutrients that for normal people it's very difficult to decide what they have to do. How should they pick up their food or supplementation things.
So if if you have this information now that the babies get these shots or this K1,
Yes.
do you have then a solution how you can repair that?
This is a good thing. Probably the best thing is that they get the vitamin K2 to get this vitamin K1 out. However, the best thing is to get the story transferred to the medical doctors in the first place. Yeah, before the delivery, yeah, you explain, I don't want that. Yes, I will not accept that because you know, when you don't discuss that in the first place, yeah, you have a problem when the things go tough in the delivery room, yeah. And I think it's very important that this information is spread, is made public. Okay. So, and I hope we get this information about health, about the things what will happen about Corona, to really get it spread in the public, and that tomorrow in our Zoom meeting, a couple of hundred people will participate, is it? So you two ladies, you are now the, how shall it call, the fortress in the United States to make it really public. You are the beacons of light to make this now public, and I think it's very important that more people get this information.
Working on it.
Okay. So I think to make this Zoom call 1 hour for us in the middle of the night, I think that's a good timing.
We appreciate that.
I appreciate that you are here. So you are now the leaders of the United States. You have to make that public. Yeah, you will practice now leadership. It's all about leadership. To move in a new area, yeah, into a new civilization, we need leadership. And you are the first two ladies who are the beacon of light in the United States.
We have another one here, I think,
Okay.
who is from Arizona.
Yeah, me.
You?
Yeah,
Okay, so already 3 females who are the beacon of light in the United States.
well, 3 is the magical number. Don't give up hope.
Sure. I never ever give up. So
Good.
Good. Fine. So what's your name?
Hannelore.
Hannelore. It seems to be a little bit German.
Well, it is German, but it's in Arizona.
So the Germans will save the world, is it?
I did not understand you. Could you say that again?
The Germans will save the world, our civilization.
I wouldn't go that far, but I hope that tonight something will happen that will be good for the world.
I hope that too.
Never speak about politics or the religion, and the friendship will continue.
Yes, exactly. So fine. Thank you for tonight, for this evening.
Thank
Have a big hug, and we see us tomorrow.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
You.
Bye bye.